The film Dead Presidents shows how war devastates lives long after the flames of war have died down. But the film only shows part of the truth. 30 years later, the cast is virtually unknown. From broken marriages and terminal illnesses to tragic deaths. Lawrence Tate as Anthony Curtis. Lawrence Tate was born on September 8, 1975, in Chicago, Illinois. At age 20, Lawrence Tate played Anthony Curtis, a married Vietnam War veteran who sought to join the resistance after the war, in the 1995 film Dead Presidents. The film showcased his maturation from a rare intensity to a gentle tragedy. In real life, his marriage to Thomasina Parrott in early 2006 achieved a rare stability in his career. Following the initial success of Menace to Society and the enthusiastic reception of the romantic drama Love, Jones, Tate became increasingly selective. He only accepted roles with limited or stereotypical components. This discipline helped protect his reputation, but hindered his financial growth. He carved out distinct phases. While his peers sped up, Tate ventured into uncharted territory with films like A Man Apart, Crash and Ray, works that deserve respect without further ado. Television finally opened up his renewed spotlight through Power and then Power Book 2, Ghost, where his portrayal of Rashad Tate became significant but not dominant. In 2025, Lawrence Tate, 50 years old, is still working hard in film and television, prioritizing balance over quantity. His desire to use 2.5 million shows momentum rather than risk. Freddie Rodriguez as Joe. Freddie Rodriguez was born on the 17th. Born in January 1975 in Chicago, Illinois. Freddie Rodriguez was 20 years old when he played Joe, a deeply traumatized Vietnam War veteran whose anger and survival instincts led to the death of the president in 1995. This role demanded that he demonstrate emotionally rich acting skills from the early years of his career. Off-screen, his relationship with Elsie Rivera, which began in 2008, became a source of balance as his work became increasingly demanding. While films in the late 1990s and 2000s were physically demanding, after chronic back injuries and stunts and long takes, he began to limit the roles he could safely take on. At the same time, his career stalled with the film 6 Feet Under, in which he played Federico Diaz, a grieving funeral director exploring themes of sex, addiction, and loss. This success also brought pressure. From films like 6 Feet Under, Planet Terror, in which he played El Rey, a wounded rebel fighter, to later projects like Harsh Times and Ugly Betty, Rodriguez was rarely absent from the screen, but often had to embody complex characters requiring great psychological depth. Physical pain from a back injury ultimately limited his choices, only allowing him limited screen time. Today, Freddie Rodriguez is 50 years old and continues to work hard in television and film, balancing his health with a long-standing career. The $4 million in royalties he receives demonstrates the value of consistent work over decades, built on enduring success rather than flashy appearances. Chris Tucker as Skip. Chris Tucker appeared on the 31st Street. Born in Atlanta, Georgia in August 1971, Chris Tucker, at age 24, played Skip, a conscripted soldier whose sharp wit and jokes barely conveyed his fear and anxiety. In the 1995 film Dead Presidents, this exhibition comes just as his comic book style was gaining popularity. It portrays a moment in his life when things unfolded faster than he could control. This pace profoundly impacted his private life. His marriage to Azalea Pollard, from 1997 to 2003, ran parallel to his career, leaving him with virtually no time for his family. When Friday turned him into a beloved icon and Rush Hour became an international star, he spent months on set, in airplanes, and on promotional activities instead of being with his family. Success created distance rather than security, and marriage made Tucker isolated, cautious, and emotionally withdrawn. Career triumph quickly turned into pressure and anxiety. After earning nearly $50 million from the Rush Hour franchise, becoming one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors, Tucker gradually regained his footing, appearing in sequels like Next Friday and only taking on roles involving violence or foul language. Films like the script for Silver Linings Playbook and later Air helped solidify his position. But momentum didn't build. Simultaneously, failed real estate investments, bad credit, and escalating disputes with the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, throughout the 2000s led to constant advice and fear, turning philanthropy into a passion. Chris Tucker, now 54, carefully balances stand-up comedy with select film roles. His estimated net worth of around $5 million is attributed more to his comfortable lifestyle than to his rise to power. Terrence Howard was born on March 11, 1969, in Chicago, Illinois. In 1995, at age 26, Terrence Howard played Cowboy, an impulsive street thug driven by instinct and gratification, in the film Dead Presidents. This role portrayed him as rough, unpredictable, and vulnerable. It wasn't a performance built on desperation. This instability also ravaged his private life. His relationship with Lori McComas, which led to 2 tumultuous marriages from 2000 to 2007, broke down amid documented violence, arrests, and legal battles. While Howard is known for films such as The Best Man and Mr., Holland's monumental work, The Movie, exposed the turmoil in his family and private life. His second marriage to Michelle Ghent further exacerbated the damage, leading to fierce legal battles, convictions for intimidation, and relentless legal disputes that destroyed both his finances and public trust. The threat to his career increased instead of stabilizing it. A contract deal with Marvel removed him from Iron Man 2 to avoid a franchise disaster that could shape his financial future. Alcohol-related incidents, personal attacks, and ongoing legal battles made it difficult for studios to promote or invite him to participate, even though Empire later helped him regain his reputation. Now 56 years old, Terrence Howard remains selectively active, openly grappling with regret and unresolved trauma. His estimated net worth of around $4 million reflects a career rife with self-harming behaviors. Bokeem Woodbine Trung or Cleon. They are 13 years old from Woodbine. Born in Harlem, New York in April 1973, Bokeem Woodbine, at age 22, played Cleon, a fearsome young soldier whose fear and passion drove him to make irresistible decisions in the 1995 film The President. This role launched him into a talented cast before Hollywood knew what to do with him. In his personal life, he married Mahalie Woodbine in 1999 and built a peaceful family life, while his career took an unusually rapid turn. Throughout the late 1990s, he consistently appeared in films like Gridlocked and on television in the series The Sopranos, but each role felt more like a challenge than a breakthrough. The contrast between a peaceful family life and an unpredictable career created internal pressure. This pressure persisted into the 2000s. Even after finding balance in his Oscar-nominated role as saxophone artist David "Fathead" Newman, Woodbine still had to take on supporting roles in projects like Saving Grace, Southland, and Devil. His work was steady, but his path to advancement remained low. Bokeem Woodbine, now 52 years old, remains actively involved after his critically acclaimed role as Mike Milligan in Fargo, a role that earned him an Emmy nomination. His net worth of approximately $3 million reflects his long but stable career. Isaiah Washington, whose full name is Edward Isaiah Washington, was born on August 3, 1963, in Houston, Texas. At age 32, Isaiah Washington played Edward, a low-level criminal operating within the elite, in the 1995 film Dead Presidents. The role came quickly, but the consequences of the honor did not. His marriage to Janissa Marie Garland weathered the pressure. Few relationships do. In 2007, Washington's dismissal from Grey's Anatomy after the show's homophobic remarks ruined his career overnight, transforming him from a successful executive into an enemy of the film industry. While he was receiving NAACP Picture Awards and global recognition for his role as Dr. Preston Burke, he suddenly found himself unemployed, publicly condemned, and rightfully criticized. The financial consequences forced him to buy property and find ways to maintain a relationship based on survival instincts. Later projects left him disillusioned, tarnishing his image, and Washington endured a long period of anxiety, isolation, and depression, which he later publicly described. Attempts to revive his career through films like Blue Caprice and later television, works in the 100 opened doors to attention but failed to restore his reputation. The doors to Hollywood remained ajar as he moved on to independent filmmaking, African film productions, and later his own productions in Corsicana. Isaiah Washington, now 62 years old, focuses on producing and directing works outside of mainstream Hollywood films. His use of approximately $500,000 reflects the financial cost of a single scandal that impacted the entire industry. Clifton Powell as Cuddy. Clifton Powell was born on March 16, 1956, in Washington, D.C. At age 39, Clifton Powell played Cuddy, a reliable, instinctive, and sometimes joyful and sometimes frustrated criminal in The Death Presidents, 1995. This role portrayed a dangerous and unrestrained passion. Behind that image, Powell's personal life was under considerable pressure. His relationship with Sharon Powell was fraught with conflict, as early success clashed with financial responsibilities and constant business travel. Later, Powell felt he was too young, putting immense pressure on him, leading to periods of crisis and escalating conflict over money and family stability. The burden he carried never lessened, even as his work changed. Careerly, Powell experienced a different kind of decline. Despite notable performances in Menace to Society and later Ray, the film that earned Jamie Foxx an Oscar and a nomination for Best-Selling Film from the NAACP, he was increasingly relegated to lower-budget projects. The combination of being cast in industry-driven roles and the 2018 verdict he overturned and later dismissed created pressure and drained his resources. The legal troubles and reputational damage lasted longer than the lawsuit itself. Now 69, Clifton Powell still primarily acts in independent films while mentoring his son, Maine Powell. His use of the approximately $400,000 reflects a career built on the quantity of films he's appeared in rather than financial stability. What remains is a survivor of an industry rarely said goodbye and never forgotten. Keith David, who played Kirby, was born on June 4, 1956, in New York City. At age 39, Keith David Kirby played a convicted criminal who reinforced order with enthusiasm and passion in the 1995 film The Death President. The character nearly seized power, but never rose above it. This perspective reflected the reality of his own professional career. His marriage to Margaret Edwards, whom he married in 1990, was strained after a long period of imbalance due to his demanding work schedule. In 1990, overlapping film projects such as Men at Work, Marked for Death, and Clockers kept him constantly busy. Family life was disrupted. Efforts tracked by intention, missed milestones, desperate conversations, and the gradual erosion of time spent together all demand constant repair. Career frustrations, however, take a different path. Despite outstanding performances in The Thing and Platoon, David consistently finds himself stuck in supporting roles while leadership opportunities slip away. Voice acting opened up space for slowing down and critical acclaim. Roles like Goliath in Gargoyles and later Arbiter in Halo garnered critical acclaim, including an Annie Prize. The effort to maintain an iconic voice while striving for wider recognition has created hidden challenges behind his success. Today, Keith David is 69 years old and continues to work in film, television, and popular voiceover projects. His net worth of approximately $7 million suggests that productivity alone is insufficient, rather than a sign that he is a top-tier voice. James Pickens Jr., as Curtis James Pickens Jr., was born on October 26, 1954, in Cleveland, Ohio. At age 41, Pickens Jr. played Mr. Curtis, a strict, cold, and disciplined father in the 1995 film Dead Presidents. The role portrayed a man of power, but lacking passion, a contrast to his own less than fulfilling life. At home, his marriage to Gina Taylor, whom he married in 1984, provided a stable but quiet source of income. During the early and mid-1990s, meager earnings forced him to take on any job, leaving him with little control over his time or where he was. Projects like Another World and upcoming television shows provided him with enough to eat, but not peace for his family. Financial considerations were brought into the conversation to compensate for long periods of separation and to lessen the emotional distance. His professional life had tested his willpower. Despite lucrative roles in shows like Roseanne, Beverly Hills, 90,210, and The X-Files, awareness of it remained vague, fostering a sense of stagnation. He finally found some solace in his role in Grey's Anatomy in 2005, but that stability remained fragile. In November 2025, a prostate cancer diagnosis changed everything, forcing him to take a break, focus on treatment, and confront the fear that success wouldn't protect him. Today, at age 71, he's back on the operating table, declared cancer-free and resuming his long television career. The specific use of approximately $2 million shows that this is a career built on perseverance rather than ostentation. Jennifer Lewis as Mrs. Curtis. Jennifer Lewis was born on January 25, 1957, in Kinloch, Missouri. At age 38, Jennifer Lewis played Mrs. Curtis, the domineering mother of Anthony Curtis, a woman who instilled values of discipline, fear, and survival instinct in the presidential family until his death in 1995. His character portrays a mother influenced more by pressure than by protection. In real life, Lewis's private life was, in some respects, quite secretive. She never legally married, but her long-term relationship with Arnold Bird, the father of her only child, Charmaine, became the source of lingering emotional conflict after their separation. Arguments about parenting, money, and independence destroyed the relationship. She left Lewis, abandoning her daughter while maintaining a strong public image. The distance at home brought isolation instead of comfort. At the same time, her career was severely disrupted by an undiagnosed bipolar disorder, a condition she later addressed in her memoir, Black Hollywood Mother. During the filming of Sister Act and Poetic Justice, she struggled with deep-seated depression to the point of losing roles, disappearing from projects, and nearly losing her life. The illness disrupted her judgment, destroyed professional relationships, and trapped her in a vicious cycle that Hollywood silently condemned instead of supporting. Today, Jennifer Lewis, 68, is still working and openly speaking about her mental health after years of battling to overcome it. His asking price of around $6 million reflects his decades-long dedication to film and television, including Blackish, in which earned her numerous NAACP nominations for best-selling film.